Yeah, so I think one of the issues that is facing many of the insurance operators and the environments that we see in Africa is actually a shortage of technical capacity across the board, be it actuaries, underwriters, claims managers, etc. But interestingly so, one of the reasons why we're represented here as Milliman consultants is really to try and address the capacity gap that you just referred to. Regulations and regulators are actually all converging towards the International Association of Insurance Supervisors standards, and that just means that a lot of the regulatory developments are towards risk-based capital regimes. And in doing so, many regulators are requiring competent and technical actuaries to come in to support the solvency modeling, the capital modeling. And what we're finding is many of the insurance companies don't have access to those sort of skills. So it's a big issue, and for a firm like ourselves, it's a big opportunity. And certainly I'd agree with the sentiments that you've heard from other delegates on this. I think the issues of pricing are no different at a high level between normal pricing products that are not microinsurance and microinsurance products. So the principles are exactly the same. I think it's a mindset, and I think that mindset sort of stems from the providers of capital. So long as a business has the ability to diversify and take a longer-term view on their return on investment on microinsurance, it is quite feasible for insurance companies to continue to price their normal products to return a level of margin that's over a period of time sort of compensates for the early years when microinsurance is going to not return as much a margin as possible or as required. Sorry. And so what that means is that in the pricing of a microinsurance product, one has to look at pricing in expenses that are at a very, very efficient level, which does mean a huge change to the way you operate. The risks, arguably, are not as risky as one would expect at the microinsurance level, and in many markets people have seen that the risks are actually slightly better. So from a risk perspective, so long as the pricing has the relevant sort of terms and conditions, you can actually manage the risk. The biggest issue for me, I think, is how do you bring in the expenses to such a level that per product or per policy they're affordable for the individual. So the individual company that actually won the product innovation idea or award last night was a company that actually looked at this. They do a number of other things where they actually do make margins that are suitable for their shareholders, but it is on products such as this, they've actually taken a longer term view. And if you are able to take that sort of view, I think it's possible. And I think the pricing principles are exactly the same. Milliman has a number of practices and a number of areas associated to insurance, be it health insurance, pensions, employee benefits, life and general insurance, investments. So you can imagine that plethora of services services a number of different types of clients, be it all the way from a microinsurance player to a regulator to a asset manager to a large insurance company to a small insurance company or to a pension fund administrator. So our clients don't look the same, and our services don't look the same to each client. So we do make sure that we understand specifically what the client's issues are and challenges are, and that is through that analysis and conversation and dialogue, we're able to sort of understand how we can better serve the clients. But they don't look the same, and there's certainly not one size fits all. Well, I think this year's conference on a number of sort of levels is is exceptionally well attended, and I think the more I sort of attend these conferences, you get under the skin of what the sort of conference is about. And I think there's a couple of things I've noted. I mean, you certainly sort of mentioned the observation around business being done everywhere, and I think certainly this event is an excellent place to network and make sure that your business, your brand, and your services are actually well appreciated by a vast number of key stakeholders on the continent. But I think also the conference this year has, for me, been quite a useful one to understand how the continent is beginning to sort of operate and in a synergistic manner amongst each other. So the AIO is very instrumental in bringing the insurers of different and fairly wide-ranging countries together, and so it has to my mind been quite successful at bringing about the key issues and talking about the key issues that are affecting insurance in different regimes, different climates, and different countries. So I think from that perspective, beyond the business, I think there's beginning to be a much more common understanding and appreciation of each other's issues, and I think that's very, very useful. I mean, the key challenges we heard yesterday were really around awareness and capacity, and we spoke a little bit about capacity earlier. So I think the demand is certainly there. It's latent. The insurers and the regulators really need to work hard at actually increasing the awareness around insurance in all of these markets. But I don't see why a previously small sector of the of each country's GDP cannot grow faster than the GDP to become a reasonably significant sector. And I think that isn't a short-term task or a challenge. I think that's going to be at least a 5 to 10 year opportunity. So with that sort of horizon in mind, I think we will find that insurance growth will certainly meet or exceed the GDP sort of targets over that sort of time frame.